we just have set our custom volumes, and now we have a very refined volume for that, and it's the combination of our flip sim and also the splash. That volume, the reason why we need the surface for the whitewater is for it to create this field where the particles of the whitewater, they get advected by that because they're created by this, and at some point, depending on the velocities of them and the direction of the vectors, they get out of this surface, and then they fly by the forces applied to them, and they are not related anymore to this fluid. So that's the idea behind it, and so we need now to make the selection for that. So let's go to our splash sim. I think we can just grab it straight from this, and we can make a selection using a point pop. So let's create a point pop, and let's select this. Let's say selection. Great. Let's dive inside. And the way I want to select the points that we're going to emit white water from, I want to just take the fastest ones. I want to grab the ones that are new. Like, I don't want to get like points that are almost dying. I don't want them to keep emitting. And we might even randomize and delete a few just so we can keep it more optimized and we don't need a lot of emission. So let's implement that. Let me get a little bit more real estate for us. Let me dive inside. So let's get the length of the velocity first. So as we mentioned before, the length just cares about the value, the amount, and not about the direction. So it doesn't matter where the particle is flying. I want to just grab the fastest one. So let's compare. And let's say I want to select everything that is greater than 4. And let's plug that into the color so you can see. Okay, these ones are the ones that are faster than 4. 4 means 4 meters per second, and that's great. So now I also want to grab the age, and I want to do a compare. And let's say age, and I want to get like less than, and maybe 0.6. Let's see the color. You see that now we have like this front part. These are old particles, and some of them are flying really fast because they are here included, but we don't want. And the way we can mix those is that I want the particle to be faster than 4 meters per second, and also the age should be less than 0.6. So as I'm saying and, that's exactly how we do it. We say that it must be this and this, and then we make a different selection. If I would use like or statement, it means can be this or this, so it's an additive. So you see that much more particles are going to be selected, almost everything, because some of them are very fast and some of them are just like new, and that's the combination. It's additive. And this one is more like a multiplication because it needs to be one and the other. So it's so now if I just do like a remove, for example, if I compare, because if I remove this, I'm going to remove the selection, right? Like, so I'm going to remove whatever is white, but this is what I want. So if I compare and say that should be equal to 0 is the black. So I'm inversing that. So if I now select this, you see that is the inverse of that. So because the inverse, if I remove CG remove points, Now we selected this. And then I want to just see how much particles we have. 169. I think we need to get like less than that. So let me go ahead. Let me dive inside and let's get like delete some random ones. So random, we grab the random based on the IG, and the random return us a 0 to 1 value. So I can also do a compare and say whatever is bigger than, is greater than, like 0.7, for example. So we're keeping 30% of the particles. And if I plug here, you're going to see that it's going to randomize all over the place. But if I plug this into the end as well, like here, instead of having the 169,000, we are just getting like 50,000, and that's more manageable. That's more or less what I want. Now we need to set P scale and also the emit. Emit is what whitewater is looking for. Is the emit attribute. Okay, instead of density, we have this emit. It's more or less density, but we're going to get into the points. So let me dive and set the emit. So we can just do like another point pop. Point pop. And say, let's call this one set emit. Set emit. Okay. The emit is also important because I want the particles that are faster to emit more, right? Like, so I have like to have like a gradient for that. And also based on the age, I want to have like them kind of like fading off. Like if it's a particle just born, it's emitting more, and then once they're dying, I want to gradually emit less. So let's do that. It's very similar. So we're going to get like the length, but because we deleted already the sum of the particles, if I do like a fit range, because this we don't need to have like a compare, the compare returns us an integer. That means 1 or 0, just like a number that doesn't have decimals on it. But for the emission, we can have like a gradient, like a black to white image, like where we have like some gray tones, and that means like some intermediate values for that. So if I plug that in here, what we can do, we can come to this selection and get the velocity and say we can copy this parameter, because this every particle that has less than this is already deleted. So this is the minimum anyway. So I'm going to say like paste relative reference, and then for here I want to, I don't know, like maybe speed of 7, and we can have like a gradient. Now you see you have like these values that are between white and black, and that's great. And also let's do like the based on the age. So I want to do a fit range. Okay, fit range, age, and then we also deleted that. So I can also come in here and grab this value. So compare, copy parameter, and then we dive in here. So now I want to 0 paste relative reference. So this is the oldest particles that we're going to have. So for the oldest particle, I just want to have like a little bit of emission. And for the particle that just born, I want to have like full emission. And now we can multiply these two and get the emission that we want. So this is the new values that we have by multiplying these two. And I want to fit range that. Let me go a little bit more. You see, like as we move a little bit more, we're going to have like more of the white values, because the particles are getting, we have like more velocity into the splashes, and that's the goal of that. And now we can fit range to both emit and to p scale. So for p scale, let me do like another fit range. So we're taking the 0 to 1 value and we're fitting range that to something much smaller, like 0.008 and maybe 0.015. Like it's not small, but it's just for the emission. The whitewater requires a p scale and an emit. So let's do a bind export. And let's set this is the p scale. And now we need to do another one of this, but this time we're going to have like a different value. I want the minimum to be 0.5 and the maximum I want to have like 10 of emit. Doesn't need to go from 0 to 1. You can have like more than that. And this one we're going to call emit because that's what the whitewater is requiring. We don't need to have like age now, so I'm going to do an attribute delete. I'm going to delete age and keep everything else. And then we can have like the whitewater source. So let me do whitewater source. This time we're going to use it differently. The first input is the volumes, so it's the liquid, and this is our custom values for that. And the second one, we didn't use this before, but this is for an extra source pointing. And inside this, if you don't need to do that, I'm just going to do to show you, allow editing of content. It's going to convert, it's going to have like a volume rasterize somewhere around here. Let me just try to find it. You are rasterizing the emit attribute, and you're getting that inside. That's why we can plug points into that, and the output of this is going to have like to be a volume, because the whitewater uses a volume to emit. This I think started to happen in Houdini 16 or 17. This new volume emission that's much more accurate and efficient. Somewhere. Okay, yeah. That's the extra rasterize. So is the second input, is the extra source point, is coming here from the attribute delete, and then is rasterizing the emit. I'm just showing you that we are plugging points. Like if we middle click, we have points, we don't have any volume, but that's it's okay. And now let me go here and set back here. We have a lot of points. That's why we deleted random delete the points, because otherwise we would have a lot of emission. And feel free to delete even more with the random node that we had. Okay, so I'm going to, I don't know why this, but I'm going to redo that because this one looks a little bit, I think I know. I think this one is correct. No, yeah, it's loading from disk. Okay, so I want to get like this one, but in here I first want to go ahead and do this with all of these vorticity acceleration curvature, because now we're going to only emit from our extra sources, and I'm going to reduce that as well. So then extra sources, I'm going to check, and now we can plug this guy in, and we're going to have like let it cook for a moment. I picked up a frame that has a lot of particles. You can see here it's very faint, but you have like the emission, and very detailed because our custom field that we created here, the custom volumes that have like a very good resolution for that. So let me just delete this guy. And now it's important to cache this. So we cache, and then when we come back, we were going to do our whitewater simulation. And before we close this lesson, I set up the splash emit and the out emit, And here you can also increase this. So you see that a cache is more than we have here. Is because you can just like increase the particle scale and have like even more. So yeah, 2 is good. And you can always like add different layers of different simulations for the whitewater, as we discussed before, to optimize and to get like more, so you don't need to have like a very high one in the beginning. And yep, so let's set up the 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 cache. You cache out, and then in the next lesson we come back and we do our sim. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's set up our whitewater simulation for the splash. Let's start with a regular DOP network. And we have the emission. Let's call this splash whitewater sim. Let me disable that. Yeah, we don't need to start this from the very beginning. It can start from the frame 72. If you think about like the real ocean, then you need pre-roll because it makes sense that the wave's already breaking. But because we're talking about the splash, you don't need to have pre-splashes in here. Like it's fine to just start wherever we feel like we start, and we're going to save a lot of resources with that. I'm going to dive inside and let's set up the basic whitewater object, whitewater solver. Plug this into here, this into here. These already contain into the forces the gravity, so we don't need to add gravity. And we can just copy our boat from. We're doing that in place, so we can copy the boat from, I guess, this one. Yeah, we can copy from here. And let's copy also like the mask, age mask. Let's copy this, and we can copy this as well. Um, I don't know, like, yeah, let's copy these guys and then let's dive in here. And we can paste. So, yep. Let's do a merge. So we merge the collision here. Shift R to invert the order of the inputs. And this one is this one, the particle forces. We can plug. And let's see our fit range. Yeah, we can maybe start earlier for this, like yeah, like that. It's good. This is the same thing that we did, the age mask, to be advected by the velocities of the wind force. So here I want to have a little bit more wind. Maybe we can make like 3, so it has like a little bit. We have it coming and multiplying by the age mask that is coming from this. So let's just double check age mask. Yeah, it's all working. We have this. We can we're just randomizing a little bit the resistance. And now we need to set the bounds and everything. So I think, let me just think the limits. Let's start from here. So out emit, we have different emits. So now let me see whitewater emit. Okay, so we know we can just copy that for now, and this is not in the volume source, so it's in the emission source. And if you click here and put export relative path, it just transforms back to relative path. And I think it's custom. I think it's custom volumes, right? But did I put like an output on that? Yeah, out custom volume. So let's do it properly. Out custom volumes. Yeah, this guy. All right. So then we have like a bound. Yeah, bound boat. I think this is the bound that we care for that. Yeah, this is the bound. So we can just do the same thing that we did. I'm going to dive inside. I'm going to place this in manual. And let's come to limit size, referencing data. We're talking about the FG whitewater sim. And outbound boat is this guy, bounding box, size. And yep. And the center, same thing, referencing data, FG, outbound boat, and centroid. Yeah, we have like that. Don't need to be closed boundaries. And let's start setting up. Remember the same technique. If you feel like it's too much for your resources, if you don't have a lot of RAM in your computer, you can set up multiple simulations for that. And you can just change the seed, change the amount, and then you can combine all of them. And even if it's too heavy for you to render them, you can also render them separately. It also works because whitewater is very forgiving. If they are one on top of each other, they work. If they're very close together, they work. So it doesn't need to have like a merge or anything like that. So they're very forgiving in that sense. And then let's start laying out our mission. Because I'm going to do all in one simulation, I'm going to make it like 0.01. Yeah, like we can go like 0.3 for the first one and see how it goes. I'm going to go like 0.2. I'm going to add state attribute, emission amount. I'm going to keep 1. You can start to see your system handles like maybe 0.3, and then you see the amount of particles looks good, and then you can increase from that in other simulations or in one. It all depends on your machine. Also 2, and then in the advanced we can increase the bubbles to 100. It means it has much more chances of dying than the foam. The bubbles are under the water, the foam are in the surface, and the spray is just flying particles. The sprays are the particles that doesn't have advection from the fluid. Once they are free from the fluid, they're named spray, and they are just like more like spread particles that you see. Like we can like even use the spray as we did to convert this to mist, because these is more thinner particles, and that's the foams what stay in the surface. So okay, lifespan 2, we can just add a little bit of noise as well. So I want to get like a 0.35, 0.35, 0.35. That's the frequency. We are reducing the frequency, so we're making it like bigger changes and not like a very frenetic change. And I'm going to make it like 0.1 the amplitude, just a little bit. And then we can come to the foam tab, or maybe even to the forces. And I'm going to keep that 4. We keep this as is. And then in the foam tab, I'm going to reduce the depth range from minus 0.25 and to 1.25. The constraint stiffness, I want the shape to maintain at least a bit. and we're going to have like variable stiffness. What it means is that once it starts to become like spray, it doesn't have this stiffness anymore. So that's what this range is about. I don't want to have like erosion, but let's keep the repellents to separate the particles on the water. When they hit the water, after a while they start to get like these patterns. It's not going to be really visible in our sim because it's going to be so heavy, the storm, that you don't have like a clear vision of that, but it also helps to break things up. And then the strength, I'm going to go like from 10 to 12, and I want to add at least like a little bit of noise from 0.3 to 1, and we can keep like this as default. And I think we're all set to go. So let's do dop IO again. And preset, we can use particles. That's what we care about. And then you can just come to this and let's copy these guys. Let's paste them in here. Just visualize we're deleting non-selected, we're keeping the V, the age, the G, the life, but I also want to keep the spray, the bubbles. So I'm going to bring this back, enable that, and let's do 1. So you need at least 1 to just see all the attributes that you have, and you can decide which ones you want to keep. I think for this one, we also want bubble, we want ID, we want spray, and we want form. Okay, that's what we want. And also delete that. And I'm going to call this guy this one. Great, awesome. In the next lesson, we're going to start working the background ocean, the one that goes all the way to the horizon, and the whitewater for that as well. So see you in the next one. We're getting there. And then we're going to start also to assemble everything in Solaris and start testing. And then after testing, we're going to be able to go back and start tweaking things and see if we need any adjustment or any other layer or anything else. Thank you and see you in the next one. Welcome back, and I simulated the whitewater on the splash, and here is the result. Roughly around this frame we have 55 million particles, so it's a lot of particles. It became really dense for this this small area is too much, so I'm going to delete and optimize a lot of this, but yeah, it feel free to go with like different numbers so you have like less emission. And yeah, let's start processing this. So first I want to blast the bubbles. I don't want to, so I'm going to go and blast, and I'm going to say like that bubble is bigger than 0.06. So everything that's a little bit of bubble, I want to delete, and I need to define that this is points. So let's see if we delete. Yeah, just by that, you can barely see, but we deleted 10 million particles. They are just like inside the volume. And maybe we can go even further. Like, yeah, you see, 31. Yeah, it's a lot of particles that we deleted. So I'm going to go like 0.15. And then I want to delete everything that's inside the fluid because this is kind of flat, and I want to delete by the inside. So we can do like we can do an object merge, and we can maybe, I think we can pick from here. Maybe in the we can grab like this No, not this one. Or yeah, I think we can pick up this one. I think it's going to work. So let me paste this in here. Let's select to see what we have. And I believe like I want you to grab everything that's inside the water. I want to delete. We don't need that. Just doing is taking some time because doing this processing. Yeah, it's not quite what we want because this is thick, and if some particles are here, they won't be deleted. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to bring this guy, and then we can do a VGB from polygons. VGB from polygons with very low res. We don't need anything, like this is enough. So it processes quite fast because it's a very low res. But then we need to reshape that. So we because when you do low res, it kind of like goes above the surface. The surface is smaller than this. So we need to do kind of like a VGB reshape, like considerable reshape STF, and we're going to erode like 1.5. I think maybe we can erode 2. So yeah, it's just like a little bit on the safe side. We're just making it smaller, the volume in general. And now let's go, and I want to delete inside. So to delete inside, we're going to do like a volume sample. So we're going to do like a point VOP in here. We're going to plug this guy in. So let me bring this up, and this will be the second input. Delete inside. So we're going to do the volume sample. We're going to sample the volume from the input 1. So volume sample. And the volume sample from input 2, we need to sample the position for that. And then we're going to do a compare. And if it's less than 0, it's inside the volume. So if it's less than 0, it's going to be inside the volume, negative values. And then we can do a point remove. CG remove points, and we're going to delete those. And now, yeah, we deleted a lot more, so we came to 20 million points. I think this is okay. Do we have like a P scale? Do not have P scale. So let's set the P scale based on the age. Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's keep processing that in another point VOP. I like to separate this so we don't just do like everything in one. So I have a little bit more. So let's call this set scale, and let's dive inside. So I want to first the normalized age. So I want the P scale for that to start bigger and then fade off. So let's do it. I think we kind of did that before, no? For this guy, did we? I think we did. No, yeah, we didn't. Maybe we did for the emit. No, we did it here. No. Yeah, I don't remember exactly if we did that, so I'm going to redo. Anyway, it's good for you to see again and reinforce that. So we're going to divide the age by life, and we're going to get the output is a normalized age. So if we plug that, we have like from black to white, but we're going to fit range and invert that. So let's fit range, and from 1 to 0. Nice, we have like this. I want to define like a ramp for that. So let's do like a ramp, because the ramp you can better define like how it starts and how it ends and how it's along the shape. You can have more control over the shape and the gradients that you want in your ramp. So I'm going to say like ramp A from age, And let's call this age, and it's a spline, and we plug this in here. So everything's going to become black. No, it's already there. So we have like this shape, and what I want to do, I want to just create this selection, and I want to say a B-spline, and let's start playing. I want this to kind of fade, but not totally. And this one in here. Okay, and we can bring this guy down, so we have like very tiny here and more like around this, so it kind of fades along the life of it. Yeah, looks nice. So we can now define the density and the p scale with two different fit range. So now we have like a 0 to 1 value, and we're going to fit range into different values. So it's coming from 0, the black part, 1, the white parts, and we want to get like a tiny p scale for that. So 0.0075 and maybe 0.002. Actually, yeah, no, I don't think, I think it's doing it wrong. So this is maybe we need to get like this one. Yeah, from 0.001 to 0.002. Or maybe this one we can go bigger. Or we can do like, yeah, I'm just thinking about like what we want, but maybe we can go with something like that, like 0 to 1, and then we can bind export these to p scale. And now we need to do that for density, so we're going to create another one, but this one we're going to have like different numbers. And let me copy this one as well. I think for that, let's call this density. Density, and let's do that. I think the lowest parts, this one I want to have like half of the regular density, and this I want to have like 3 times the density, so it's good. But there is something else. I want to remove some of the particles, maybe. Yeah, maybe we can say like, let's do a compare from the normalized age, and we can say that maybe if this is less than, I don't know, like 0.4, let's visualize in the color. So just this area, this part, we can delete those. Yeah, we don't want that. They're just like little dots, and this can be a little bit, we can just do a remove. So CG remove points. Remember that this is an HDA that I'm providing also, but it's very simple HDA. Great, now let's just visualize those points, the size of this, and from the camera perspective. There's a lot of points, there's some nice splashes, everything looks solid, and that's our output. So we can just come in here and place a null. I also want to, once it's like disks, it's always like need to think a lot, because it's also displaying the size of the p scale, and we have a lot of points. So we can say this is the out splash whitewater. Great. So now we have this, and yeah, I think what we can do next, yeah, we could do like some points. So I'd like to have like some of these like to be mist, like I also want to become not only the white water, but like some mist that once the splashes go, it become like mist. So maybe we can make a selection from these, and for the very high velocity ones, we can rasterize them and make them become like a mist. It could be cool to have that. All right, so we keep working on that in our next lesson, and see you there. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back, and we keep working on our splash. The next stage that I want to add is just a little mist, a little volume that is flying from this. This is much easier and simple to build, and we're going to go with like a very simple pop simulation. But let's get our emission from these splash flips. So I'm going to just create like a group expression. So my idea is to grab um, the particles that are flying in the x, positive x, fast. Like once the particles start to fly fast, it emits. Okay, so that's the goal. So let me grab this from here and plug it in here. Let's give us a little bit more real estate for that. Let's call like this group X, just so we have a name. It's points. And the idea for that is that we have like at v dot x bigger than, let's say, 4. Okay, let's select. And so all these are particles that are flying bigger than 4 meters per second in the x axis. So that's what we want. So we can do like a blast and keep that. So let's do blast, and I want to blast not group 4, group X. So this is what we get from that emission. And let me see how many particles we have. 3 million. It's a lot of particles. In some areas we have less, and maybe, yeah, we might need to go like with 2 substeps for this one. And if you feel like this will be too much for you, like too much particles, you can definitely kill like random particles. So you can just get like another, even in here, if you, I don't know, let's do another one so we have more control. I'm going to do another group expression. It's here. And this time you can come to points, and there is a chance option here, like 30% chance. So instead of having this, we can use the IG, and there is like a less than 3, 0.3. You can just blast. So I'm going to just rename this. So let's call this group rand. And if you select this, you come here and you can delete the group rand. Now we have 1 million. Before we have 2. So if you want to change, you can like it's smaller than 2. Oh, sorry, more than 0.2. We have 1.8, and then it's smaller than 0.5. We get less, maybe 0.6. So we're basically just culling down the particles. We can just kill the age now. Attribute delete age, and we have like the P and V. That's what we want. And now we can just build a regular pop theme. So I can just type pop network, and let's plug in here, and let's call this splash pop. It already give us a few nodes. It already actually simulated. So this we want to emit from like maybe 2 substeps. Let me disable the simulation. We use 2 substeps, And we can start at frame 72. Again, let me go inside and let's add a few things. We don't need any collision. We're going to go very simple with this one, but we do need gravity. So let's add gravity force, right? And let's go up in here. And let me go down in here. So for this one, we don't want to scatter on surface. We want all points from the first contact geometry. That's what we want. We want them to leave for maybe 2.5 seconds with a little bit of variance, like 0.5. We can jitter negative, and in the attributes we can just add some variety to it. So we're not going to add velocity, but we're going to add variation just a little bit, like just 10% in all axes, and that's good. So we need now to advect the force from the wind. We can grab this probably from here. Yeah, we do have that. So I'm going to copy this one, dive inside, paste. Oh, I paste everything. So I just want this one. We don't want the boat. Let's get this guy. And it's pointing to our wind force. I want to increase a bit the scale in here, but yeah, maybe like this. I want to add a little bit more. And we have like the age mask. I'm not sure. I don't think we need that. So I'm going to disable that and get like the wind, because these are already particles that are going this direction. So I don't want them to just get picked up by the wind. They can just born already flowing with the wind. And then we need to kill some particles, and for that we can use our volume here. Let me just get like maybe just the drag. This one we can use definitely. This one no, and we can just grab this. Let's do a pop kill, because otherwise the particles can keep flying forever. I don't mind if they keep going in this direction, because they're going to die after a few seconds. But if the particles are going inside the fluid, it's a waste of resources, so we can just delete them. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to come to the bounding, and there is an option of bounding object, and we can select the path. I think we have it here, right? Like, so this guy, so this is the extruded volume of the surface. I'm going to just pop this guy in here. And yeah, we don't want to invert, because we actually want to just enable this, and once it gets inside the surface of the ocean, they're going to get killed. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. And I think that's it. I think we're all set to go. It's going to be a fast sim. If you have like too much points, it can be a little bit like just consuming like space in your disk. So just increase this on this random deletion. If you want, you can increase that up. For my demo scene, the one that I rendered, I didn't have this, so I'm taking all the particles that are flying that direction and just letting it go. But I think this is more reasonable to have. We don't need a lot of points. We can just have like a little bit, and I think this is totally acceptable. Maybe we can even go like here. Yeah, I think we might even go like less than that, like 7. I think, yeah, it's good. And then we do the regular trick with that, but I want to grab these guys, because that's what we want after the .io. So let's do a .io. and this guy can be in between. .io. Got this guy. Got this guy again. Pop object. That's our guy. Just the particles. That's good. And we are good. So I'm going to say splash pop in cache. We don't need that. We need this from 72 to 168. And the path is our cache directory. I'm going to use this one. And that's it. See you in the next one, where we're going to rasterize this and make it like look like just smoke, like mist. Here is my simulation. See, like it's very, there's a lot of straight lines. It looks strange if you look into particles, but it actually works well if we convert that to a volume. For that, I need first to do like an attribute randomize. We're going to be a bit more sloppy with our p-scale definition for this one, because we don't care too much. We just want to have like a few of small ones and a few of big ones. So we're going to do like p-scale. That's what we're going to randomize. We can just set the dimensions to 1, and I want to randomize that to 0.0015 and maybe 0.003, like that. And now we do have like some variations on our p-scale. Yeah, great. And now let me think. Yeah, that's good. That's good enough. So I convert to points. I want to set density, so we can do that with a point pop. I'm just going to do a fit range. Set density by scale. And we're going to do a bind. We're going to bind our p-scale. Okay, we're going to do a fit range. We need to come from 0.0015 and 0.003, and I want to go in here and maybe get like 2 and 4. 2 and 4. And the result of that, we're going to do a bind export into density. Yes. So now we have density, we have p-scale, we can do the volume rasterize attribute. So let's do a volume rasterize attribute. And we are going to rasterize our density, right? So density, we can set the voxel size. I think it can be like that, but the particle scale, I want to increase quite a bit. We could just have like the density. If we increase the p-scale here, it would work. Anyway, I just like can have like a little bit more easier control in here if you want more or less, you see. But I think 7 is good. We just want a little bit of that. And you can add like a velocity blur. So just going to stretch more this, and we can leave this as default. And that's our splash volume. Simple and easy. Great. We have a lot of things. So in the next lesson, this one was a quickie one. The next lesson, we're going to work finally in our background, and then we're going to start setting up our render for this shot. And also later we're going to do like the mist and the rain, like something just to give like more interesting in the foreground. But I think it's better to do that after we have set the render for everything, and we're going to go from that. Okay, so see you in the next lesson, and we're going to work on the background, ocean, and foam.